you should, get more leads and you should make more sales and you should grow your business and all of the other sort of stuff. But there are only a few things that are sexy that people talk about. That's like new leads and all of that. Whereas, you know what? Like it's way sexier to me if I can have retention be at 90 or 95% on a recurring basis because I don't have to go hunt every month.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, founder of Grace and Ease Productions, where we support entrepreneurs like you to profitably scale your business with events, allowing you to make sales faster with greater predictability and less team burnout. I'm excited to introduce you to today's guest because not only is he the founder of fractionalcmo.com and Redfern Media, he is a leading authority in direct response marketing, known for driving exceptional results for some pretty prestigious clientele. You may have heard of Dr. Benjamin Hardy, who's the author of 10x is easier than 2x and Who Not How, amongst a gazillion other books. Joe Polish, the founder of Genius Network, Chris Voss, the FBI hostage negotiator, and just a ton more. His fractional CMO service is tailored to just really thriving business owners who are ready to scale, but really just require that expert guidance to do it efficiently and effectively. While on the Redfern media side, he really transforms traditional marketing efforts into client-focused strategies that enhance engagement, improves conversions, and turns satisfied customers into passionate, raving fans. Please help me welcome Draye Redfern to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
I'm super excited to have you because I something I do appreciate you about you is one, you have part of your business brain and your companies is one part of you is not like that typical marketing agency. Could you share with us like the difference between a typical agency and how you utilize like high level marketing leadership and strategy, and why is it important to take a look at having both?
Sure. I look at marketing different than way, pretty much everyone else.
Yeah,
I
I think
spent
so too.
12 years in the insurance industry. I still have all of my property and casualty, my life and health, and my surplus lines license that I still keep. And we grew that business to about $40 million a year in sales. And so it's a great business. We sold that 2 years ago to Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, his conglomerate of companies. So super cool to say you sold a company to Warren Buffett and all of that's fine and good. But I share that because my brain has been like wired and conditioned to mitigate downside risk first, like risk management, all insurance practice based stuff. So if you're going to market with a new webinar or a new this or a new offer or whatever the thing is, what's the worst that could happen? Like, are you spinning up, team resources unnecessarily? Is there unnecessary costs associated with that? And going down that sort of rabbit hole of what is the downside? How do you mitigate downside first? Whereas many other marketers are just like, let's blow the roof off this thing and, bake it as big as possible. And then when it doesn't work, which oftentimes it doesn't the first time around, they're like, whoops, and they're on to the next thing. So the same people
Right.
who
Sorry,
were
we spent all of your money.
yes. I mean, the same, you look at this within the course space also, the same people that was like Google AdWords and Google Map Pack stuff went on to selling crypto and crypto courses and whatever else. And then those same people went on from crypto to be like blockchain stuff. And then from blockchain, it was AI. Like literally the same types of people selling all of this sort of stuff because they don't mitigate downside risk. A lot of them don't build businesses around it. So my philosophy is with marketing, mitigate the downside risk of figuring out what like comprehensively should you be doing and also not be doing. And then once you have that figured out, then you can blow the roof off and like really make it happen. And so we do that, like we help people do that in a couple different capacities. Yeah, I have a full service marketing agency and I have a fractional CMO service, but they all sort of have that underpinning of thinking in them where yeah, you should, get more leads and you should make more sales. You should grow your business and all of the other sort of stuff. But there are only a few things that are sexy that people talk about. That's like new leads and all of that. Whereas, you know what? Like it's way sexier to me if I can have retention be at 90 or 95% on a recurring basis because I don't have to go hunt every month. Like
Yes.
hunting's great. I'm a Texas boy, God, guns and glory, all of that. But I don't want to have to hunt to provide or make payroll every month. I want to be a gardener and a hunter. So mitigating downside risk by actually doing stuff that can have, things work, recurring, recurring revenue, higher retention, all of that. And then you can go whale hunting and go after the big prospects and things that you want to do, and play both ends of the spectrum. So when we look at marketing, it's from those standpoints of you may not even need a marketing agency. You may just need to improve your existing retention or build in a recurring revenue offer, and then you're off to the races. You've doubled your monthly revenue. You've covered the payroll nut or whatever else you got to cover, and you didn't have to go spend 20, 50, 100 grand on marketing services to go about doing something that wasn't really needed in the first place. So that's where I come at marketing from, a bit more holistic and comprehensive, mitigate downside risk, and then go from there.
Yeah, I see it all the time with my clients where it's like you've got the ones that just want to go and do the selling, right? And they just want to go hunting. And then they get in the new clients and they're like, awesome, peace out. Next, find out more people. And I'm like, what are you doing? You have to love on these people, nurture these people, and they will stay with you. Right? Like, and that's why we, take a look at like our retention flywheel is adding in fulfillment events and, those types of things to keep and retain people. And you're saying the same thing, even from a marketing standpoint, which you won't hear anybody else talking about from a marketing standpoint of retention.
If you're going to go to a marketing agency, they're going to say things like, yeah, we'll get you, double your leads and all of that sort of stuff. Cool. Are you closing more? Maybe they're bad leads. There's 1,000 things that could go wrong on the front. If you are already an established business owner, having something on the back end is the easiest place to go. Like we have a framework that we use, a trademarked framework called Anchor. It's attract, nurture, convert, humanize, optimize, and then retention and recurring revenue. And so we run any client on the Redfern Media side or the fractionalcmo.com side through that to basically build that out for them. There are 25 ways that you can generate leads and attract new leads in. So what method are you using? Now, most businesses are only using one. And if you're using one, you are could easily be found, up creek without a paddle sort of thing, because we see it all the time. We saw it last year. Like cold email was super huge in the last year, but Google is really and Yahoo have tightened down on things. Whole businesses and sub niches are now out of business because they only had one. If you were in the firearm space or cannabis space, political space to a certain degree, a bunch of other things like that. Google pretty much, or crypto, definitely crypto, like shut down whole industries by not allowing them to advertise on Google anymore. And that happened overnight. So whole industries change. And so if you only have one platform, you're really, really in a bad spot. So 3 is usually what we recommend. Because then you can diversify your lead gen, and you're not like if something happens, if you're running live events and all of a sudden some uh, you know crazy virus that came from a bat in a wet market makes its way over and shuts down an entire economy, you've got to adapt pretty quick if that's the only thing you're doing. But if you had 2 other things, you can have more variation there. So there's there for any of our 25 ways that we consider to generate leads, there are things like that has happened. So diversifying is really, really important. The second thing, the nurture element that you just touched on, you have to love on those people. Just because you're getting leads doesn't mean they're actually going to ever convert if you don't nurture them. We have found, and we've done a lot of testing on this, roughly 18% of people who are both product and solution aware, meaning they know about you, are looking to make a decision in the next 90 days. That leaves the other 82% that want to make that decision, are going to make that decision, but they're going to do so in an 18-month time frame. The problem with most businesses is they're only focusing on the leads in. The person that isn't ready to buy today or next week, they're like, deuces, I'll see you never. and they don't have any nurture built out whatsoever. The real money is in the people that are interested in buying 90 days to 18 months from now. So,
And but you
um,
said earlier that's not sexy, right?
nope, not.
That's the boring work. But when you, I mean, in business, you kind of want it to be boring in some respects, right? Like you don't want to always be putting out the fires. But I feel a lot of founders and owners out there are kind of stuck on like, well, if I'm not doing it, if I'm not putting out a fire, then I'm not valuable to the company. When in reality, you want to be the one kind of like twiddling your thumbs because the team is handling it and everything is working how it should, boringly.
100%. And but it's just not sexy to talk about, so it's
No,
often overmissed.
right.
So I can keep going down the anchor framework side of
Yeah,
things if that's helpful. We
please.
can shift directions. I'll let you tell you whatever you think is best for the
No, keep
audience.
going down the anchor.
So that's attract and then nurture, convert. This is the sexy stuff that everyone talks about. Where like, oh, I made X amount of new sales and whatever else. Great, but there are steps and tiers of conversion. Most of the times, if you have an offer, there's a good chance if you have a downsell, upsell, cross sell, there's 20% usually of missing revenue in a business just by having something else figured in there. Secondarily, most entrepreneurs, and you just touched on this, is they found something that has worked and then they just stop doing it. Like, oh, it's like it worked, and I'll do something else now. And I'm totally guilty of this. Like we all are. So having that as a part of the practice is like measuring, tracking conversions. We've got 9 metrics that we track on that. Is is absolutely paramount in relation to knowing what is working and what's not. Because what tends to happen is if you don't know, we'll cover this in Optimize. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know what's converting and what's not. It's really easy to get sucked down the like a shiny object rabbit hole, and waste tons of time, money, effort, and energy, as Joe Polish says, Tammy, time, attention, money, effort, and energy of doing things that just don't matter. So, what does that look like, and how many mechanisms do you have to actually convert? After that is humanize. So, we live in this age right now where a ring, a ding, a vibration, a chirp, etc. Your attention's pulled in 1,000 different directions. The buyer is more sophisticated now than they ever have been. So hello underscore first name, parentheses, whatever else to add in your email autoresponder. People know like the gig is up on that one. It's not a personalized email, things like that. So how do you create at the end of the day, whether you sell business to business or business to consumer? How do you have what actually, the only thing that actually matters, H to H interactions, human to human? Because if you're selling B2B, there's still a human at the other end of that making that buying decision. And if you're selling B2C, you're selling to a human directly. So how do you have more humanized moments? And so like examples of this, we send out 10,000 handwritten notes a year. It's probably closer to 12,000. We make over 10,000 personalized videos that come from me to, hey, Shay, hey, Bill, hi, John, every single month as like personal intro videos or like reaching out, cold approach videos, 100% personalized, 10,000 times a month. So, how do you create more things like that in your business to actually be like, holy smokes, like that person, they're different, like people don't talk to me like that. And so there's things like that. Like, there's a saying that small hinges swing big doors. If you layer humanized moments like that, it's really easy to capture people's attention. And if you're not completely obtuse and you don't just buy that or you get them to buy and sell them in and you just deliver the product, you have a humanized connection at the 30, 60, 90-day mark after they started working with you, then like you're missing opportunities there as well. So that's the humanize
On
portion of
on
Anchor.
the humanized part, like I just literally got an email earlier this week from somebody that, they did this video and there was a screenshot of my website and it had like, Loom or something like that. And they're like, hey, just wanted to show you that, I'm a real person and I'm recording this. And I was like, Hmm, you're saying it, but honestly, there's no actual photo of you on the loom. It's just your logo. Two, your team can splice in my website, and you didn't say, hey, Shay, hey, Bill, hey, whatever, right? Like I'm like, you're saying it's real, and I see what you're doing. It's not really you. You've got your team taking your script and putting somebody's website in and splicing it in and sending it out to gazillions of people. So
And
it's
that's
still the
exactly
cold
it.
email.
Yep, that's exactly it. And like you could do cold emails like that, and you can use AI tools and do first name, drop ins and all sorts of stuff. Most people aren't doing that because it takes more work and they don't think that the juice will be worth the squeeze,
Yeah.
which I actually want them to just keep believing that because it'll be way easier for people
Yeah.
like me to just not, yeah, stand out.
Right. Yeah. So you said, is it 10,000 a month you send out personally?
10,000 personalized videos a month. Yes.
How in the world are you doing that?
Um, it's had iterations. So previously we would do about 1,000 a month. And so we'd have our list of people we're reaching out to every month. I'm still a huge proponent of direct mail, which is like it's like blasphemy as a millennial to say something like that. um, but we would do about 1,000 a month, which out of 1,000 on average, you only record 650 intros because names are either, there's 50 Johns, etc. Not a lot of Shays, not a lot of Drays.
Yeah.
Uh, and so you do it. We literally record, "Hey Shay, hey Bill, hey Susan," and that 2 minute segment, the second or 2 second little clip would be my director of operations wrote a code and segmented all of those into 650 different videos, all the way down, and then another code that splices that onto a main video. It says, "Hey Shay," and then it goes to whatever else. We took it a step further and had their name come across the screen at the same time. So they
Wow.
see their name while they're hearing their name, um, and do it that way because, and this dates back 100 or so years to the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
The sweetest sound to someone's ears is the sound of their own name. So I use it all the time. "Hey Shay, awesome to connect. Really great that we did X, Y, and Z. And now listen, Shay, I wanted to say something else to you about X, Y, and Z. Anyway, Shay, that's it for now. Hope all is well." 3 times pretty effortlessly, and that could be a 30 or 60-second video that you do. So it's things like that that could have huge, profound impacts and like actually differentiating the business.
Makes sense. Okay. Brilliant. Keep going. Anchor.
Then O is the optimize side of things. So most business owners don't have good data.
Mhm.
That's just the reality. And so if you're running any sort of paid ads or paid media, SEO that you're spending time on, or you're doing social and all this other sort of stuff, you may be able to, spending a lot of time, attention, money, effort, and energy on your social side of things, but it's this thing over here that you're actually doing maybe 3 hours a month that is truly driving the most amount of leads. And we see this all the time. I got to go on social. It's like everyone is doing it. Some are doing it, is what it comes down to. Very few are actually having success with it. Like having been under the hood of more than 1,000 businesses, including some of the biggest influencer names out there, social makes a difference for a very select few of people. It's
Mm.
not that big of a deal for most. Like as an example, we had the very top influencer. I won't even say the space because you can go look it up. In a space, um, and they had 3.4 million followers. King of the space. It was everything they could do to drive 3,000 clicks to the offer that we put in front of them. Now, I could do the same thing and not spend any time on social and not have to worry about posting and thinking and doing this or doing that. And I could go buy those 3,000 clicks for $1 a click and spend 3 grand. That to me is worth it 1,000 times over. In their case, like 10,000 times over. Um, by having an option to do something like that, knowing the numbers that are, where the leads coming from, cool. Where are the conversions coming from? Because leads are great, but if you do all this stuff for social and social's driving 90% of your leads and none of them convert, what are you actually doing? So having full funnel, full business optics of what's working, what's not, absolutely imperative for a lot of businesses out there because most of them are flying blind. Like I'm looking at my cost per lead or my CPM, my cost per thousand impressions, or my ROAS, my return on ad spend, and it's up. Yay! Or it's down. No, like boo. And like that's okay. Well, let's do more of that. Like, what are you doing more of?
Right.
So having actual, stats on that are really, really important. And then last but not least, the R of Anchor, retention and recurring revenue. Sort of like we talked about a second ago, where how can you have more recurring revenue so you don't have to go hunt every month? And if you can't have a recurring revenue offer, how do you have higher retention? So if they only buy from you once a year, how do you get that to be 90 or 95% where they're coming back and they're like, you are my only option? And if that's the case, then you're in a much better spot. So that is Anchor in a nutshell. That is what we run all of our clients through, both Redfern Media and Fractional CMO, and it serves as a pretty good framework to holistically look at the marketing of a business.
Yeah, I love it because, I mean, gosh, looking at the numbers, it shocks me how many business owners don't know their numbers, right? Like I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, okay, cool. You did this event. What are the numbers? And they're like how many were current clients? How many were brand new? How many bought? How many like were on during the offer, not just on with you during a 5-day challenge? Like
Yep.
all of those things are super important. And they're like, I'm not real sure. That's a missed opportunity. Like
You
that
watch
tells
the
me
head sag, you
so
watch the eyes get shifty. They're like, no, I don't know.
oh, no, goodness. Okay. Super valuable. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the whole Anchor piece again because you were dropping so many diamonds that I didn't capture everything. So thank you for that. My next question for you is if you had a crystal ball and you were looking at like what is working right now and what is 2025 and beyond look like in terms of marketing and what should business owners be looking at, thinking through, and working on?
um, I think 2025 is going to be an extension of 2024, which is an extension of 2023. Things evolve,
Yeah,
and what worked then won't necessarily work now. And that's a never-ending uphill battle where you're going to be Sisyphus. You're going to be consistently pushing that rock to the top of the hill, only to get there, and then the dang thing's going to slide back down. That is marketing. And in most, in any other industry, it's called failure. But in marketing, it's called testing.
oh
And
my gosh, that's so good. Say that again. Say that
in
again.
in any other industry, it's called failure. But when in marketing, if it doesn't work, it's just called testing. And that is 100% accurate. I have way more bad ideas than I have good ideas. But the good ideas, dang, when they hit. But you got to sort of sort through that. And like it helps having, nearly 2 decades in the space at this point, and doing that. But it's the same game, different day. And so social is still going to be relevant for a lot of people. Online advertising still going to be relevant for a lot of people, just getting more expensive. So you got to stand out differently. Direct mail has never gone away. I just hope people don't start doing it, again because it'll make it
That
more
means you have to
difficult.
change again.
Yeah. But in that side of things, people's email inboxes are completely full. Like I have 167,000 unread emails in my inbox right now. People's inboxes are more full than ever. Their mailboxes are emptier than ever, well, at least with something that actually stands out.
Right.
So I think that direct mail is still the one thing that I will do a lot more of this year. We just keep upping it every single year, but it's an extension. But if you don't know the numbers, you're going to most likely spend money on any of the things you're currently doing, and maybe they work, maybe not. So I don't have like an absolute like aha sort of thing with this. I think all of the things will work for people depending on the niche and whatever else. It's a matter of how you do it and if it's even worth your time, attention, to go about doing it.
Yeah, well, and probably utilizing Anchor and knowing the numbers and having the human response and like all of those pieces to support you in choosing the correct marketing lane, or you said three that you want to focus on for your business that work for your business and what
Yep.
you are excited about too, right? Because
100%.
the business owner isn't excited about it, they're going to be like, meh,
Yep.
not doing it. Can't make me. Oh my God, I love it. Well, this has been amazing, Dre. Thank you so much for being with us. What is the best way people can get in touch with you? And do you happen to have a gift for our audience?
Sure. I mean, easiest thing is just fractionalcmo.com. We've got a form there. I am not that active on the socials, so if you message me there, like I will get it, but it may be 3 weeks from now, which is again blasphemy for me to say as a marketer. Um, so fractionalcmo.com or Redfern, red like the color, fern like the plant, media.com, and we do have a free gift. We do. It's a diagnostic tool that we use for all of our fractional CMO clients. And so what it'll do for you, completely free, if you go to report.fractionalcmo.com, there's a diagnostic there. It'll take you 5 to 10 minutes. It'll ask you all of the questions that we do around Anchor. So your attract, nurture, convert, humanize, optimize, and then retain and recurring revenue. It'll tell you exactly where your primary gaps are. And then at the end of it, it'll deliver it's an 11-page PDF report of the exact recommendations that you should do based off of what you said, depending on your answers, like whether it's online, offline, traction strategies, et cetera. It'll be an 11-page complete customized report for whoever fills it out completely free.
I love that. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Totally.
Last question for you. What is a takeaway or memorable note you'd like to leave our audience with?
Know your numbers. Um, Optimize what is there. Like it's super sexy to, do all the stuff and buy the next course or program and all the other sort of stuff. Most likely you don't need it. Most likely you got to figure out what the numbers are and just do more of what's working. It's not sexy. I can't sell you a course to do that. There's no money in that, which is why no one says it. It's like, cancer doctors telling you about the holistic ways to not get cancer or reduce the chances of getting cancer, not in their best interest because there's no money in it. Same sort of thing in the marketing space. Like, know your numbers before you go buy the next course, program, get pitched by an agency or whatever it is. Do that first because then it sort of opens up. You're really looking under the hood of your business to figure out, okay, like this is what we're really working with here.
Well, and I would think on the flip side, knowing your numbers, and if you are going to interview a marketing agency, being able to go, okay, this is where we're at, this is and knowing all of those things, if they can't look at that and say, oh, fantastic, this is what we can do with it, that's a telling sign of like, run.
Very accurate. In fact, I think that if people do the 11-page report, they could take that to a marketing agency if they needed to and be like, this is exactly what my gaps are. How would you fix it? Take the score. Don't show them the recommendations. Make them come up with the own recommendations based off of how you ranked on those sorts of things and see what they say. So it's a great tool that you could use in a variety of capacities.
I love that. Or just come straight to you guys because
No.
you already given the recommendations and know how to make it work. So perfect. Thank you, Dre. I would appreciate you for joining us and all of you listening on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm stoked for you to take all of these lessons, all of these resources that you've learned here today, start implementing them, get the free gift so that you can create even more impact in your world. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.